This evening, first, a 69-year-old construction worker is killed during a violent home invasion in West Bank Demerara. We have the latest on the police investigation and the family's harrowing ordeal. Plus, in Quarantine Berbice, a young couple's life is tragically altered after a high-speed crash leaves an 18-year-old woman dead and her husband critically injured. We'll bring you the details from the scene and updates on the ongoing investigation. In other news, President Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali pledges $2 million to support the Ghana Conference of Seventh-day Adventists annual health fair. Discover how this initiative is helping to provide vital health services to the community. Also, the new Diamond Regional and Smart Hospital is set to open its doors soon, promising advanced healthcare services to 40,000 residents. Get an inside look at the state-of-the-art facility and what it means for local healthcare. And in regional news, over 7 million Venezuelans have fled their country in the past 9 years. We'll explore the challenges they face in neighboring states and their hope for change in the upcoming presidential election. Stay with us for these stories and more coming up on tonight's broadcast. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for July 22nd, 2024. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, police are investigating a fatal crash that occurred on the Kilburn Public Road in Quarantine Berbice during the early hours of this morning. The accident resulted in the death of 18-year-old Bibi Ali, a medical technologist, and left her husband, 24-year-old Miraz Suglio, also a medical technologist, critically injured. Initial reports indicate that Suglio was driving a motorcar PAF 6330 north along the western lane of the road at high speed when he lost control. The vehicle collided with a crane parked on the parapet and ended up in a canal on the eastern side. Ali was ejected from the vehicle into the canal. Both she and Suglio sustained injuries and were transported by bystanders to the Anamaya Memorial Hospital and Skillen Public Hospital, respectively. Ali was pronounced dead on arrival, while Suglio remains in critical condition at Anamaya Hospital with multiple injuries. The investigation is ongoing. In other news, police are investigating the alleged murder of a 69-year-old during a home invasion in Westminster housing scheme. Jill Jarvis has more details.
Police are investigating the alleged murder of Jairam Ramkushan, a 69-year-old construction worker from Westminster Housing Scheme, West Bank Demerara. The incident occurred around 1:30 a.m. on July 21, 2024. Ramkishan's wife, Tajwanti Hari Prasad, recounted that three hooded men, one armed with a firearm, broke into their one-flat concrete home while the couple was asleep. The intruders demanded cash and jewelry, assaulting Tajwanti with the gun. Ramkishan scuffled with the intruders and his son joined in, helping to force the suspects out of the house. During the altercation, Ramkishan's son, Jonathan, was stabbed in the left rib area. Ramkishan then pursued the men into the yard with a cutlass. Tajwanti heard a gunshot and found her husband laying motionless in a pool of blood in front of the yard. A family friend contacted the police. The suspects took an iPhone 8 and iPhone 11 during the robbery. Police recovered two 9mm live rounds, a 9mm spent shell, a black haversack, and two flap hats from the scene. The body of the deceased is at Ezekiel Funeral Home awaiting a post-mortem examination. Several individuals have been questioned and the investigation is ongoing. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. 35-year-old Jatindra Baljoda, a taxi driver from Underneaming Sandpit, Essequibo Coast, was charged with several offenses when he appeared at the Saudi Magistrates Court on Friday, July 19. Baljoda appeared before Magistrate Tamika Clark, where the charges were read to him, and he pleaded not guilty. Reports are that on June 26, 2024, at Underneaming Sandpit, Baljoda committed the offenses of assault of a peace officer, resist a peace officer, disorderly behavior, and threatening language on two police ranks on the Essequibo Coast. Bail was granted $35,000 each for the assault of a peace officer and resist the peace officer, and $10,000 each for threatening language and disorderly behavior charges. The case was adjourned to August 9th for disclosure of statements. Stick around when we return. President Ali pledges $2 million to Seventh-day Adventists health fair and construction of new Diamond Regional Hospital progressing.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Smart Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized care, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Rose Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton, and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali has committed $2 million to support the annual health fair organized by the Guyana Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. The announcement was made during the opening ceremony of the Health Fair, Business Expo, and Family Fun Day at the National Exhibition Center in Sophia, Greater Georgetown. President Ali highlighted the government's commitment to covering transportation and logistics costs and providing vouchers necessary for health services, including spectacles, through the eye care program. He also mentioned the fully operational National Ophthalmologist Hospital at Port Morant Center, urging the Adventist community to submit names of individuals needing cataract surgeries. The president emphasized the importance of community outreach by the church for sustainable development, noting the holistic approach of the church that addresses physical, spiritual, and mental well-being. Pastor Ozzy Edwards, Ministerial and Communications Director of the Seventh-day Adventist Conference, reiterated the church's commitment to impacting lives through their events. The health fair offered various services, including doctor consultations, health screening, eye tests, glasses distribution, and dental services, attracting many residents from Central Georgetown. Moving on, the construction of the new Diamond Regional and Smart Hospital is progressing well. This is according to Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony. Following an inspection on Saturday, Dr. Anthony reported that the hospital is on track to be operational by December or early next year. Once completed, the state-of-the-art medical facility will benefit approximately 40,000 residents, offering improved access to healthcare services. The hospital will feature 75 patient beds and high-tech equipment to optimize service delivery. Key amenities will include a modern 24-hour emergency and accident department, advanced laboratories, 2 operating theaters, and a minor surgery theater. Additionally, a comprehensive imaging area will provide digital X-ray and CT scans, enhancing diagnostic capabilities. In other news, on Sunday, 70-year-old Sandra Hendricks was gifted a new home through the government's Melanin Mission initiative. Hendricks, who had acquired land in Farm East Bank Demerara 7 years ago, never thought she would see a house built there due to her age. Hendricks reached out to the Office of the President, leading to Melanin Mission representatives visiting her and eventually providing her with a new home. She currently lives in Diamond East Bank Demerara in conditions unsuitable for her age and is eager to move into her new home, expressing gratitude to President Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali and the Melanin Mission initiative. Minister Kwame McCoy, who led the handover, emphasized the government's commitment to improving the lives of vulnerable citizens. The Melanin Mission initiative, created by President Ali, has significantly benefited many residents and includes a youth mentorship program. Don't go away after the break. Colombia's political reforms, scandals threaten President Gustavo Petro's plans, and Biden steps aside, U.S. President drops out of presidential race.
Smart Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized gear, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Terence Roux has pledged to provide the necessary resources to security forces to address the recent surge in gun violence in St. Kitts and Nevis. An emergency meeting with police and defense force leaders focused on reviewing homicides and formulating strategies to curb the trend. The measures include increased patrols, strategic deployment, enhanced intelligence, and community engagement. Dr. Drew emphasized the government's commitment to ensuring citizen safety with ongoing assessments and public updates promised. The UN Refugee Agency says more than 7 million Venezuelans have left the country in the past 9 years. Most have settled in neighboring states, where they have continued to struggle with economic hardships and hostility towards migrants. Many hope the upcoming presidential election could put Venezuela on a different path, paving the way for their return. Al Jazeera's Alexandra Rampieti reports.
Carolina Bolivar left Venezuela 6 years ago, escaping unbearably harsh economic and political conditions under President Nicolás Maduro. But her time here in the Colombian capital has not been easy. To make a living, she sells coffee on the streets of Bogotá while caring for her 9-year-old daughter. She says she's hoping the upcoming presidential elections will give her the opportunity to return home to be with the rest of her family.
I have the hope and faith that we will kick out the government, that things will change, and that I will be able to return to my country. Most of the Venezuelans abroad want this badly, that the president leaves and the country gets fixed.
Bolivar, like many others, are putting their faith in the opposition candidate Edmundo González Urrutia, one of his campaign pledges to bring back migrants living abroad.
There's no doubt that the upcoming elections represent the most serious challenge yet to unseat Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. Opinion polls favor the opposition, but in a context of ongoing repression against critics, nobody here believes that the elections will be fair.
Some 5 million Venezuelans who are eligible to vote live outside the country, many in shanty towns like this one on the outskirts of Bogotá. They represent an important electoral group, but government numbers show that only 107,000 have been allowed to register to vote. Critics have denounced the nearly impossible requirements needed to register, like demanding migrants hold residency visas in the country where they reside, or valid passports that are often very expensive. Some migrants just gave up, refusing to even try.
I
never registered because everybody already knows who will win. And that's probably why the government always wins. Because people are disillusioned with the process and don't vote. And that's wrong, I know. But I do the same. Why vote if they won't let anybody else win?
With the election looming, Venezuelan migrants seesaw between hope and fear, knowing that the results could define their options to return or force many more to leave. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
Colombia's first left-wing president has reached the halfway point of his term, but Gustavo Petro's low approval rating and a series of scandals are increasingly threatening his ambitious economic and social reforms. Al Jazeera's Alessandro Rampietti reports.
Leftist President Gustavo Petro moved this year's Independence Day parade to the impoverished south of the capital Bogotá, a symbolic choice to reiterate his government's commitment to the country's poor. Yet as he reaches the half point of his administration, his ambitious plans to reform the country's unequal economic and social laws have been stymied by Congress and corruption scandals among some of his officials. Problems he tried to overcome in a speech inaugurating Congress's new legislative period and calling for a national agreement.
The political pact that I propose to you is meant to help us reach an agreement on the reforms. It's not meant to preserve the status quo, because that's what brought us here. It led us to be the most unequal society on the planet.
In his first 2 years in office, Petro has managed to pass a tax reform early on, a pension bill and reduce deforestation, but his overall agenda and security plans have lagged.
Petro has had difficulties building consensus with different political forces. This has translated, for one part, into a significant deterioration of his government's political capital. And on the other hand, we have seen several corruption scandals that have eroded its credibility and its legitimacy as a government that was meant to do things differently.
Faced with these challenges, Petro has changed more ministers than any previous administration, transforming an early coalition government into one more entrenched and loyal to his vision, accusing the country's traditional elites of waging a soft coup against them and repeatedly flirting with the idea of overhauling the constitution to implement his agenda.
Outside Congress, protesters were a reminder of the country's deep polarization. Centrist Alejandro Gaviria, former Minister of Education in Petro's first cabinet, says the president has mostly himself to blame for lashing out at his critics and allies alike.
President Petro has divided our society even more. He has tried to divide society between a corrupt elite and the people, of which he pretends to be the only spokesperson. And that has created more political problems and generated more uncertainty.
As time passes, it seems increasingly unclear what avenues are left for the president to reach his ambitions for change, which risk leaving his promises unfulfilled. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
U.S. President Joe Biden made a decision that has thrown the 2024 presidential race in disarray. The Democratic contender is stepping aside. Biden's age and cognitive decline have taken center stage in recent weeks, with many fearing it could cost his party the elections. Al Jazeera's Kimberly Hackett reports.
Even before he was sworn into office, most polls showed Americans thought Joe Biden was too old to be president. But after a frenetic 4 years of Donald Trump, Americans were exhausted and eager to slow things down.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly.
An elderly Biden seemed like the solution. At age 78, Biden made history, becoming the oldest U.S. president. Within hours, Biden signed 17 executive orders to begin reversing Trump's policies on everything from immigration to rejoining the Paris Climate Accord. The aged president had early legislative success, working with Congress to give Americans still struggling to recover from the coronavirus pandemic billions in financial relief. A $1 trillion infrastructure bill to improve roads, airports, and bridges was also passed. But as time passed, the lack of press access, the highly controlled presidential press conferences, compared to other presidents, was notable. That lack of accountability magnified as Biden's foreign policy crises mounted. The U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021, the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, the 2023 October 7th Hamas attack, and Israel's months-long war on Gaza. Still, the White House tried to portray Biden's age and experience as his strength.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Until it became impossible to hide.
You can beat President Putin. President Zelensky.
At a White House event in 2022, Biden searched for a dead congresswoman in the crowd.
Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
And his struggles to put together even simple sentences became frequent and often overshadowed his message.
And so our military is working. I'm following the advice of my commander-in-chief, the chief of staff of the military.
His physical decline and public falls occurred often. At the G7 in Italy, foreign leaders were seen directing and even assisting the president as he became confused and began to wander off. But it was this June presidential debate against former U.S. President Donald Trump that finally exposed the true extent of President Biden's decline.
It was a bad night. We understand that it was a bad night. And the president has spoken to this.
The president struggled to maintain focus. The White House said he had a cold. Democratic supporters weren't buying it.
It was tragic. I had my hopes that Biden would make a good showing, and I support Biden. And now I don't know what to think.
Weeks later, a successful post-NATO press conference gave Biden's campaign the oxygen needed to bounce back. Biden scorned suggestions his mental acuity was slipping.
I'm determined on running, but I think it's important that I allay fears by let them see me out there.
Take a look at what happened.
The attempted assassination of the former President Trump offered another opportunity to blood the dump Biden effort. The embattled president addressed the nation from the Oval Office, appearing strong and presidential. But then Biden got sick.
He just tested positive for COVID.
And senior Democratic leaders made it public it was time for Biden to end his bid for another presidential term. Polls showed 65% of Democratic supporters wanted Biden dropped from the ticket. A COVID-stricken Biden finally abandoned his campaign. Joe Biden entered the White House at a turbulent time. The United States was in the midst of a deadly pandemic, but it was also deeply divided after an attempt to stop him from becoming president. Now, Biden leaves almost the same way he came in. Kimberly Helkett, Al Jazeera, Washington.
This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's Safety V2 Headline News for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.